There are many reasons why it is impossible to transfer human consciousness on a microchip. Here are the most important of them. Life on Earth as we know is an extremely complex phenomena. All computer hardware in the world is not capable, by far, of simulating a single living cell at the molecular level. And a human body is made of around 30 trillion of such cells, all connected into a network and sharing information. Consciousness is an emergent quality of this immense complexity and cannot exist without it. Like you cannot have a froth on top of an ocean wave without the ocean, the wind and the ocean floor, you can't have consciousness in a vacuum, apart from the body that gives rise to it. Human body is a hierarchical structure. Primitive chemicals in the bloodstream and lymph regulate the functioning of all cells that form tissues and organs. Higher-order brain functions such as perception, memory, association, and thought, in succession, give birth to cognition, behavior and personality. Ultimately, consciousness is the highest level of self-realization of this gigantic cell colony. The bottom of this pyramid rule the top. Changes in the chemical composition of one's blood affect how they feel at a physical level, which leads to a different set of emotions, different mood, thoughts, and state of consciousness. Consciousness cannot exist on something that is not an intrinsic, natural part of this hierarchy. Following a popular theory about the origin of life, all essential life's ingredients, starting from a cell's membrane, proteins, RNA and so on, got randomly assembled in a primordial chemical soup, existed on Earth billions of years ago. The simplest building blocks appeared first, due to their higher chance of assembly, out of random motion of molecules in the presence of magnetic and electric forces, pressure waves and so on. As it was mentioned earlier, our computer hardware is incredibly simple comparing to organic matter and therefore it would have been more likely to appear from this soup, and way earlier, than its biological counterparts. However, nature never created any microchip-like structures, or they didn't survive for long. Nature is a better engineer than us. We can only pry into its secrets and clumsily replicate those bits we manage to comprehend. If a brain's neurons were nothing but binary switches, nature could have created a brain with trillions of them on a tiny crystal only visible under a microscope, but it never did. In reality, each neuron's internal structure is way more complex than a modern megapolis, and there must be a reason that the evolution went this way. Consciousness is a flow, it unravels in time as our lives go on. Everything we do, starting with the smallest movement of a muscle and ending with the most important decisions in life, is guided by our genetic programming. Individual and group survival is the biggest if not the only driving force behind all our thoughts and actions. We move forward and so does the consciousness. But what would drive a digitized snapshot of neural activity on a microchip? Being practically immortal doesn't mean a very long lifespan, it rather means the absence of experiencing time. Today is indistinguishable from a million years from now. There is no survival, no urgency, no fear of death, no reason to do anything or to think about anything right now, and this moment of now lasts forever. The snapshot remains frozen in time without any motivation to change. There is no doubt that people will still try to do the transfer, first on primitive insects, then on animals and ultimately, on us. And in the process of doing so, we will understand a lot more about consciousness than we do now. Nonetheless, there is a set of fundamental reasons for consciousness to remain a unique life phenomena.